All right, boys. So this is probably going to be the shortest, but yet most valuable video you've ever seen on the internet regarding hooks. More specifically, hooks with short form content when selling physical products, and even more specifically with organic dropshipping, of course. Now, after doing over 1 billion views with organic dropshipping, I can tell you without a doubt, 99.9% of the reason a video goes viral or doesn't go viral or gets good engagement or doesn't get good engagement is because of the hook. So, like I said, no fluff, no BS. We're going to jump straight into how to actually, craft and curate these hooks. And then I have a really, really good golden nugget that I personally use, and it's kind of like my own little strategy. What was that voice crack, bro? My own little strategy as to how I approach hooks and how I create and craft such good hooks for every single video I post. So then you can leave this video and you're going to be creating killer hooks from here on out as well. First, let's get into a visual hook. You have two options, either a scroll stopper or a what the fuck moment, or what I like to call kind of like a head scratcher. So scroll stopper, something visually that you're doing on camera, not to do with the product, but something with wow factor in the camera. That could be anything that actually catches attention, right? Like imagine you were like slicing something with a sword, or you had like some super colorful thing coming in and out of the camera, right? Visually, outside of all these like little tactics we have visually, just common sense, your mind is going to say, okay, I'm not used to seeing that. That's kind of like the scroll stopper, right? Something that basically think of it as your wow factor within the video that doesn't have to do with the product. Then you have your head scratcher. This is something that creates curiosity within the viewer. So something they're looking at, like they're scrolling and they see something in the video that makes them go, like, what the fuck am I looking at? Or why is this person doing this thing? Okay. Those are your two options for a visual hook. Every single time you craft a video, so, this is for all my guys that they'll start the video out and they're just like putting the product in the video, or like it's just like showing them like, just doing something really random. So like I can half the reason I'm making this video is because you can tell there's no intent behind a lot of the organic dropshippers I see, a lot of your content. There's no intent behind it. You just start making stuff. So this should be a really good guide on how to actually start, the beginning of your video, which is the most important part, making that a banger, and then the rest will unfold from there. But like I said, I have that really golden nugget for like the second part of this after we go over text hooks that will kind of make more sense what I just said. For your text hooks, you have two options: emotion evoking or a curiosity builder. So for emotion evoking, it can be anything that actually strikes an emotion: good, mad, happy, sad. A lot of the time, a more negative emotion, so angry or sad, that is going to be a better text hook. So to give you an example there, think about the difference between a text hook that says, my mom hates my clothing brand, or my mom hates my art, compared to my atheist mom destroyed all of my Christian art. Right? Not only the power word, which I'll get to those in a second, the destroyed, really strong, especially on the emotion evoking side of things, but we're actually touching, into something like religion, but, take this as you will. This doesn't have to do with just religion. This is just the example. We're actually digging deep. This is evoking some sort of anger, some sort of sadness, some sort of, deeper emotion, which, like I said, it's a lot of the time when you're using an emotion evoking hook, 9 times out of 10, the more kind of negative the emotion, the better it's going to perform. Now, for your curiosity building hooks, this is another just quick, really good example. I want you to imagine the difference between, look at this anime item. So let's say, look at this anime blanket compared to, do not let an anime fan see this. Or something as strong as, maybe as an anime fan, I'm in utter shock that this exists. Do you see the curiosity that builds and evokes? And yes, that example I just gave you was actually straight off the dome. But do you see the difference compared to just something as bland of what a lot of you do, because you're not being intentional at all with your visual or text hook, which is actually strongly pulling on an emotional string or a curiosity string, making them sit there and say, what's going to happen next? Like, what could he possibly be talking about? Or on the emotional side of things, how could that happen? That's so messed up. Or I want to see how this unfolds, which is a lot of, why the emotional side of things are so strong. Now, my third point is emojis matter. I mean, it's literally in the name. They evoke an emotion. So you need to make sure that you actually spend a few seconds on actually pairing a good emoji or two. Never overdo it. Really, anything more than two is really going to overdo it. It's worked sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, you'll want to stick with 1 or 2 emojis. But make sure you're actually intentional with your emojis as well. A lot of this is really just being intentional in general, okay? With all of anything that has to do with hooks. Literally, the entire first 3 seconds of your video should be your main focus. And that takes me to my next point. And this is that golden nugget I was teasing. Probably, honestly, since the last year, how I craft my content is completely different than I see anyone else go about it. And it is literally the most cracked way to constantly form good content. And it's by making the hook my main focus. So what I mean by that is I want you to, from here on out, for every single video you create, before you even think of the concept, before you think of what you're gonna do, don't think of anything else other than the text hook. So what I'm saying is think of and create the text hook first based on the text hook, the good text hook that you put majority. If you're putting, let's say 10 minutes into, of course, this is just an example. If you were putting 10 minutes into a video or crafting a video in terms of coming up with the idea, 8 minutes of that should go into the text hook, okay? From the text hook, let that curate your visual hook. And based on your text and visual hook, create the rest of the video based on that. I see it completely opposite and flip-flop for almost everybody. Almost everybody I see create content, you can just see it. They're just thinking and going into videos thinking of the concept. They want to create a concept. They have a concept. But it's so much more beneficial and it's going to start bringing you so much better results and you're going to start seeing so many more views, so much more engagement if you create the text and visual hook first and base the rest of your video on that. So for those of you still watching up until this point, if you still struggle with little things like actually just crafting a good hook or creating good content in general, and you've been trying for months and you still can't, make sales or make consistent sales, I want to give you the opportunity to work with me one-on-one along with my team of 6- and 7-figure organic dropshippers, where we basically just kind of team up with you in your organic dropshipping business so you can finally start to make this work and finally turn organic dropshipping into a 6-figure a year business. So if you're interested in that and working with us, I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can book a call with me personally. I'll dissect your entire business, see what you have going on, and see if you'd be a good fit to join the program. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, go follow your boy on IG. I'll leave that also linked down in the description below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.